Welcome back. This is part 2 of Motivators. This time we're going to look at power, and this is one that can really be used badly. And some people use that, in a bad way, and it affects their relationships, and people really don't like it when they're being bullied and dominated, or because someone's got a higher position. So power is about finding what it is that you can use in appropriate ways. So I use my power as a inspirational speaker and empowerment leader, and so I motivate other people to find their voice and their motivators, and so I'm then when I get feedback from other people that they've achieved success, I feel empowered from that. So it's important to find what it is that you are empowered by and use it in a positive space, if that is one of your motivators. Okay, let's look at acknowledgement. This one is something that sometimes people, if they walk into a room or they go to work or whatever, and someone doesn't acknowledge that they have arrived, they can feel really despondent. So this is one that if you want to be acknowledged, you need to lead by example. So if someone's not acknowledging you, you need to step up and acknowledge them first, because maybe they're feeling the same. So it's the motto of do unto others what you want done to you. So if you want to be acknowledged when you walk in the room, why is it that that person has to acknowledge you first? If they're already in the room and you are arriving, you need to step up and acknowledge them first. So like I said, this one's about leading by example. So let's move on to core values. So are you motivated by your core values? Are you motivated by the way you were raised? So core values are something that we really strongly believe in. And these are things that can happen in our early years when we're growing up, and this might be like you might have a really good work ethic, or you might have a respect, like, do unto others what you want done to you, manners and things like this, or you might have a really strong value in religion, or you might have a really strong value in the way that you organize your life or your relationships, and that might be really strong to you, and someone else might think that's not really the way it should be, but you know in your heart of soul that it's true. And that can be also an imprint as well. So sometimes it's an experience that we will have, and it might be a really good experience. So we value that, and we say that that's true and correct. So, and we then model future experiences off that. So, are you driven by your core values? Fear. This is a really big one that I have a lot of clients come to me that fear, when they're driven by fear, it actually stops them. So it's not a good one to honor in that way, that if it's stopping you from doing things, let's look at what it is that it's inhibiting you, and try to find those little steps that can move you forward from that. So just the other day, I actually got asked to be interviewed on a radio station. So it should be okay because I do videos. So, but to me it was so different because it was spontaneous. I couldn't reverse it and record it, and I had a big mic in my face, and to make it worse, someone was videoing as well. So it was just something that was different to me, and it was a challenge. But when you are fearful of something, step forward into it rather than stepping away. And by the end of the interview, all the fear had gone, and I was okay. So guess what? Next one, I'm going to really rock it. So, so using your fears, a positive way to use your fears. You hear of people that do, they do these massive rock climbing, and they might do hang gliding or parachute. They jump out of a plane, and when they do it, you ask them, "Were you scared?" And they'll go, "Absolutely." So that's fear. So they're using their fear in a positive way. So they've looked at the risk and gone, okay, yep, I'm going to be fine, after doing this. Well, certain amount, I guess. You can't always, attract the variables, but they then look at it and going, wow, I got such a rush out of that. So they turn their fear into adrenaline, and they do things that they probably wouldn't do. And also sometimes you see people that actually, like, in fear, in that flight mode, people can lift heavy cars or do things that they really wouldn't have been able to do normally. So fear with that flight mode can really propel us into a positive direction as well. Social justice. So if you are raised in a really, a strong family, like so for us, in my family, I raised my children with a very strong sense of social justice. So to me, it was like being respectful to everybody else. And to me, that was really, really important. And my children have a really good sense of social justice in the fact that if we were going somewhere and, someone had, $2 short in their groceries or whatever, you give them $2 because, what's it to you? The gestures and things like that, that if someone has less than you do, maybe you could spare something for what you have, and, really looking after the people that have less than us, and and really looking at how we can support those people, obviously not where it's affecting us, but that social justice. So are you driven by social justice? Money. Some people are very driven by money. If it's something that makes them feel safe, or for whatever reason they're driven by money. Some people can do amazing things when there's a lucrative money pot at the end of them, and some people can really do some really inappropriate things as well for money. But when we have money as a driver, some people can do really great things, and then other people can do not so great. So have a look at what is your driver. Is it money? Affection. So everyone's different, and it's talking about the languages. So what is your language of love? Like if you're a sort of person that doesn't like being touched, if touch is not one of your languages of love, you may not like the way someone expresses affection to you. So, or you might like someone, when they talk to you, they might touch you on the shoulder, or, you might like the affection. So you will crave that from somebody. So it's important to surround yourself with like-minded people, and this is one that you can't lead by example, because if you start touching someone who their love language and their motivator isn't affection, they're going to be really creeped out by it. So probably that's not one you lead by example. It's one that you just need to gauge and look at what everyone else's language is. Okay, this one, guilt. Are you driven by guilt? Do you do things out of duty? This can be a really not so good one too, that if you're doing things out of duty and sacrificing yourself for it, not a great way to go. Pleasing as well, pleasing somebody else. This is okay if you're not sacrificing yourself. If it's, in a relationship, we do things to please each other, but it has to be a two-way street. You can't give more than what you're receiving, or emptying. So basically, if you're the teapot, don't empty your teapot dry and then expect to fill someone else's teacup with an empty teapot. Gratification. So this is like the acknowledgement. So do you need somebody to tell you every time you do something, I'm so grateful you do that? Do you need that? Is that one of your motivators? So download the sheet, have a look at what you do in day-to-day life and what you feel your motivators are.